Feel It Real, by Denise Coates. Chapter 9. Believing is Seeing. When you believe a thing, believe it all the way. Walt Disney. Most people think, I'll believe it when I see it. But according to the law of attraction, it's I'll believe it when I feel like I already have it. From that vibratory frequency, you attract abundant proof that your dream is possible, then more than possible, then probable, then guaranteed. All because you feel it real. Here's a great way to gauge whether your beliefs are aligned with your desires. If you feel much desire, but don't have much belief that it will happen, you won't feel good when you think about what you desire. The failure to understand this important concept has led many to proclaim that desires are bad. Again, we are discussing healthy desires that don't harm yourself or others. When having a desire feels bad, it is easy to conclude that the desire itself is bad. Yet, a healthy desire will only feel bad when you don't align it with the belief that it will happen. It would be nice if all desires were easily achievable, no matter how we were feeling or what we believed. We would all have great wealth, perfect health, beautiful bodies, successful careers, blissful families, warm friends, fantastic vacations, spiritual growth, and even enlightenment. If these desires manifested, even with our limiting beliefs, the world would be a paradise. But these desires don't come easily, because we don't believe they will, and then people suffer, thinking it was the desire that let them down, rather than their limiting beliefs. This is because they are not accessing the appropriate vibrational frequencies, already living in the gratitude of the fulfilled desire. As a result, having a desire feels like a painfully lacking experience. In the New Testament, Jesus teaches that faith heals, and brings people their desired results. Their desires to walk again, to have food for the masses, to be able to see, etc. are manifested with faith. Jesus never said, don't desire to heal your body, to see again, to feed the hungry, or walk on water, because desires are bad. Rather, he believed, it was faith that created the desired result. And a lack of faith that blocked it. He believed with total faith, that he could raise the dead, heal the sick, and turn water into wine. If we could live as Jesus, as if all our desires were already fulfilled, and be grateful for the abundance in our lives now, total harmony would exist between our desires and our beliefs. Our desires would feel good, and they would come quickly. The Bible would have told an entirely different story if Jesus had said, I hope he can walk again, or I'm not sure if I can raise the dead. That's a pretty tall order. You can bring your desire and beliefs into harmony in several ways. One method is to list all the reasons the fulfillment of your desire is possible. Imagine that you are a lawyer proving your case to a jury, making a case for your desires. List the 3 desires you've been addressing throughout this book. My 3 desires. 1. Write it down. 2. Write it down. 3. Write it down. For each desire, make a case for the possibility of your having this desire. List all reasons, as if you were presenting your case to a jury. Example. The reasons I believe I can achieve my desire to be thin and attractive are, I've been thin in the past. If I have faith, all things are possible. When I visualized it before, it happened, etc. Now it's your turn. 1. The reasons I believe I can achieve my desire to write it down are, write it down. 2. The reasons I believe I can achieve my desire to write it down are, write it down. 3. The reasons I believe I can achieve my desire to write it down are, write it down. Another way to get your desires and beliefs aligned is to work backward, by imagining what beliefs you would have if you'd already achieved your goals. As if. Beliefs exercise. Lee. Saint the 3 desires you've been addressing throughout this book. My 3 desires. 1. Write it down. 2. Write it down. 3. Write it down. Now, list the beliefs you would have if you had already achieved these desires. Also, you can list the beliefs of others who already manifest your desires, such as someone who has found true love or made a lot of money. Example. If I had already achieved my desire to be thin and attractive, my beliefs about this desire would be A. That I am one of the lucky ones when it comes to weight loss. B. That, for me, getting thin is achievable. C. That by eating the right foods in the right amounts, I can be thin. D. that by exercising in the right way at the right intensity, I can get thin. 1. If I had already achieved my desire to write it down, my beliefs about this desire would be A. Write it down. B. Write it down. C. Write it down. D. Write it down. 2. If I had already achieved my desire to write it down, my beliefs about this desire would be A. Write it down. B. Write it down. C. Write it down. D. Write it down. 3. If I had already achieved my desire to write it down, my beliefs about this desire would be A. Write it down. B. Write it down. C. Write it down. D. Write it down. Now that we know the beliefs you would have if you had achieved your desires, list how you'd feel about having these beliefs. Example 1. If I already had these beliefs about my desire to be thin and attractive, it would make me feel A. Hopeful. B. Confident. C. Excited. D. Lucky. Your turn. Write it down. 1. If I already had these beliefs about my desire to write it down, it would make me feel A. Write it down. B. Write it down. C. Write it down. D. Write it down. 2. If I already had these beliefs about my desire to write it down, it would make me feel A. Write it down. B. Write it down. C. Write it down. D. Write it down. 3. If I already had these beliefs about my desire to write it down, it would make me feel A. Write it down. B. Write it down. C. Write it down. D. Write it down. This is such a powerful exercise. In just those few minutes that you spent answering these questions, you harmonized your beliefs with your desires. Now, the law of attraction will go to work, and attract even more reasons for you to believe in your desires. This will create more good feelings, and in turn, create more beliefs. Before you know it, your desires are delivered to you. This previous exercise also uncovers your beliefs about these desires, and you may uncover beliefs you didn't know you had. If you find beliefs that aren't empowering, then you get to play the opposite game, to help you create opposite beliefs. Remember, beliefs are changeable. It's possible, with practice, to create a whole new set of empowering beliefs. Also, beliefs are just habitual thoughts. So as we learn to change our thoughts and feelings, we will naturally change our beliefs. It is helpful to identify beliefs you share with others. Sometimes, we are unconscious about our own limiting beliefs, but we can easily detect them in others. When you hear someone expressing a limiting belief, go ahead and ask yourself, do I have this same limiting belief? When they speak a belief that doesn't feel good to you, such as a good man is hard to find, or money doesn't grow on trees, or everything I eat goes to my waste, you can notice if you share that belief or not. If someone around you verbalizes disharmonious beliefs, you can play the opposite game in your imagination. It's fun to play this game in your mind, and it helps keep you amused and positive around negative people. For example, if you hear someone say, "The world is going to hell in a handbasket," you can think the opposite belief, such as, "There is so much well-being in this world. The sun comes up every day. And people do kind things for others all the time." Remember, only you get to decide how to focus your frequencies. It is always ultimately up to you to think empowering thoughts and feel empowering feelings. Focus is an important aspect of controlling your beliefs. You can focus on the beliefs that make you feel good and empowered, or you can focus on the beliefs that make you feel bad. We always have the option to choose between positive or negative beliefs. This choice is a beautiful gift, since it enables us to control our personal realities.